Welcome, brave souls, to the realm of the unknown. Here, in the heart of darkness, we unravel the chilling tales that lurk in the shadows, stories that will grip your imagination and chill you to the core. Prepare yourself for spine-tingling narratives that delve into the depths of fear, where every whisper holds a secret and every shadow conceals a terror. Join our community of thrill seekers as we explore the macabre, the mysterious, and the downright terrifying. But remember, once you enter, there's no turning back. Hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss a moment of our haunting adventures. Are you ready to embrace the fear? The darkness awaits. Briarwood Manor, a name whispered in fear, a place shrouded in darkness, hidden deep within a sprawling forest, it stands forgotten. A crumbling monument to a tragic past. Locals tell tales of its sinister history, of cold whispers on the wind, of shadows that move in the night. They say it's cursed, haunted by something evil. For years, the manor has stood silent, abandoned, its windows like vacant eyes staring out into the world. But within its decaying walls, a story waits to be told. A story of madness, murder, and restless spirits. "5 years ago, the manor's owner, Clara Everly, was found dead. A talented artist, her life was cut tragically short, murdered in her own home. The scene was horrific. Clara's throat slashed, her blood staining the floor of her beloved library. Her final, unfinished painting lay nearby. The police investigated, but the killer was never found. Clara's murder remains unsolved, a mystery that haunts the town to this day. Some believe Clara's spirit never left Briarwood Manor, that her restless soul remains trapped within those cursed walls, seeking peace or perhaps revenge. Ellie and Mark Hayes were tired of the city, the noise, the crowds, the constant pressure. They longed for a simpler life, a place to breathe. When we saw Briarwood Manor listed for sale, it seemed like fate. The price was unbelievably low, almost too good to be true. You should know there are stories about this place, rumors, but it's probably just superstitious nonsense. We dismissed them. We were sure we could make Briarwood Manor our dream home. We were wrong. The moment they stepped inside, a chill ran down their spines. The air was heavy, oppressive, filled with an eerie silence that seemed to hum. "Mark, look at these scratches on the wall. And do you feel that cold spot? It's like something's watching us." "Yeah, I feel it too, and there's this metallic smell in the air. It's unsettling." Whispers seemed to emanate from the walls, indistinct murmurs that sent shivers down their spines. They tried to ignore them, to pretend they were imagining it, but deep down, a seed of doubt had been planted. "Ellie, maybe we should reconsider this place. It feels wrong." "I know, Mark, but we've come this far. Let's just see it through." As they navigated the dark hallways, their fear and uncertainty grew. The manor was not just a house, it was something else, something alive. One room in the manor remained untouched, the library. It was as if time had stood still there. Clara's presence lingered, her easel, her brushes, her unfinished masterpiece. "I feel such a strange connection to this painting. It's like the canvas is calling to me, whispering my name." Ellie was drawn to the painting. She felt a strange connection to it. To Clara, it was as if the canvas called to her, whispered her name. "This is unsettling, Ellie. We should cover it up, maybe even get it out of the house." Mark found it unsettling. He wanted to cover it up, to get it out of the house. "No, Mark, I can't explain why, but I feel compelled to keep it close." But Ellie refused. She couldn't explain why, but she felt compelled to keep it close. Ellie found herself spending hours in the library, staring at the painting, lost in its dark depths. She couldn't shake the feeling that it was trying to communicate with her. "The whispers, they're getting stronger, clearer. They want me to finish it. Finish what Clara started." The whispers grew stronger. "Clear, finish it," they urged. "Finish what she started." "I can't resist it anymore. The pull is too strong." Ellie tried to resist, but the pull was too strong. I need to find Clara's old paints and brushes. My fingers are itching to complete this masterpiece, even though I've never painted before in my life. She dug out Clara's old paints and brushes. Her fingers itched to touch the canvas, to complete the masterpiece, even though she had never painted before in her life. Ellie, you're changing. You're becoming distant, withdrawn. I'm really worried about you. Mark watched with growing concern. Ellie was changing, becoming distant, withdrawn, consumed by the painting and the secrets it held. The whispers started subtly, faint murmurs that Ellie would brush off as the creaking of an old house. But they grew stronger, more insistent, weaving their way into her dreams, pulling her from sleep. What is that sound? It's coming from everywhere and nowhere at once. They seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once, slithering from the walls, echoing down the empty hallways, always whispering her name, urging her back to the library. Finish it! Complete the work! I can't ignore them! It feels like the wind whistling through the gaps, but it's more than that! Finish it! They hissed, their voices a chorus of chilling breaths against her ear. Complete the work! I have to go back to the library. I need to see it again. Ellie would try to ignore them, to rationalize the sounds as the wind whistling through the gaps in the old manor's structure. But deep down, a cold fear bloomed in her chest. I can't stay away. Ellie, her hand trembling, reaches for the doorknob of the library, her eyes wide with a mixture of fear and a strange, undeniable pull towards the room. Her hand moved furiously across the canvas, her breathing shallow and rapid, a single bead of sweat trickling down her temple. Don't you see? We have to finish it! He tried to talk to her, to pull her away. Ellie, you need to stop. She would lose herself for hours, forgetting to eat or sleep, her only focus the emerging image. Mark would find her there, covered in paint. We have to finish it. Ellie found herself drawn to the studio, as if in a trance. The whispers seemed to guide her hand, leading her brush across the canvas in broad, frantic strokes. As the painting neared completion, the whispers intensified, filling the house with their chilling demands. And then, one night, as Ellie added the final brushstroke, the face in the canvas came to life. Oh my God, what have I done? It was Clara, but not the Clara from the photograph. This Clara was twisted, her beauty marred by a look of pure hatred and despair. Her eyes, once filled with warmth, now burned with a cold, otherworldly fire. Ellie, what's happening? What did you do? Mark, hearing Ellie's scream, ran into the studio, his heart pounding in his chest. He stopped short, his blood turning to ice as he saw the finished painting and the expression of pure horror etched on Ellie's face. Ellie, we need to leave, now. The room was plunged into an unnatural silence, the only light emanating from the fireplace, casting long, flickering shadows on the walls, creating an atmosphere of dread and anticipation. The air grew heavy, the temperature plummeting as a bone-chilling cold seeped from the canvas. The figure in the painting, the vengeful spirit of Clara Everly, was free. Ellie, grab my hand. We have to get out of here. Mark grabbed Ellie's hand, pulling her towards the door, but it was too late. The door slammed shut, the sound echoing through the house like a death knell. Mark rattled the handle, but it wouldn't budge. They were trapped. Mark, what do we do? Clara drifted towards them, her eyes burning with a cold fire. You finished it. Now you will face the consequences. Her voice was a chilling whisper that seemed to penetrate their very souls. The room grew colder with each passing second. The figure of Clara now fully emerged, her form shimmering and translucent, her eyes locked on them with a terrifying intensity. Get back! Leave her alone! Mark pushed Ellie behind him, his heart pounding against his ribs. Silence! She is a vessel, a tool for my vengeance. Clara's form flickered, her cold, dead eyes fixed on Mark. A low chuckle, devoid of any warmth or humor, echoed through the library. It wasn't her. She didn't know what she was doing. Let her go, and I'll do whatever you want. Clara's form swirled like a vortex of shadows, her voice a guttural rasp. The temperature plummeted, a wave of icy air washing over Mark and Ellie. The air crackled with unseen energy, and the very walls of the library seemed to groan in protest. A heavy antique lamp on a nearby table shook violently, then exploded in a shower of sparks and shattered glass. Mark shielded Ellie with his body, his eyes frantically searching for an escape route. But the house was against them, windows slammed shut, their frames rattling ominously. Doors locked on their own, trapping them within the haunted confines of the library. And through it all, Clara's chilling laughter echoed around them, a constant reminder of the malevolent force that held them captive. Suddenly, a blinding light erupted from the canvas, momentarily bathing the library in a sickly yellow glow. Mark and Ellie shielded their eyes, their breaths catching in their throats. "Insolent mortals!" A voice boomed, echoing through the room. It wasn't Clara's voice. This voice was deeper, more ancient, filled with a power that seemed to shake the very foundation of the house. Even Clara's ghostly form seemed to cower before this unseen presence. Her form flickered, her spectral hands flying to her face as if to ward off an unseen blow. Mark and Ellie huddled together, their eyes fixed on the glowing canvas. What new horror awaited them? What entity had they awakened within the depths of Briarwood Manor? The voice from the canvas roared again, this time directing its fury at Clara, who cried out in pain and rage, her form twisting and contorting under its assault. "You overstepped your bounds, spirit. This is not your domain." Clara's form shrieked, a high-pitched wail that sent chills down their spines as she was pulled, struggling towards the canvas. "Ellie, now! We have to go!" Seizing the opportunity, Mark grabbed Ellie's hand and pulled her towards the only open doorway, the one leading into the hallway, a desperate hope flickering in his chest. The horrifying struggle between the unseen entity and the vengeful spirit was their only chance. Mark didn't hesitate. He grabbed Ellie's hand, pulling her towards the only open doorway, the one they had used to enter the library. "Mark, hurry!" Behind them, the house roared in anger. Walls groaned, paintings crashed to the floor, and furniture overturned as if caught in an earthquake. But they didn't look back. They ran, their footsteps echoing in the sudden silence through the darkened hallways of Briarwood Manor, desperate to escape the nightmare that had become their reality. Mark and Ellie stumbled out of the manor and into the stormy night, rain lashing down around them, lightning illuminating the crumbling facade of the house. The front door of Briarwood Manor loomed before them, a beacon of hope in the heart of the maelstrom. Mark slammed his shoulder against the heavy oak, the wood groaning under the force. "Come on, Ellie, we can make it!" The lock, weakened by years of neglect, finally gave way. The door swung open, revealing the storm-tossed grounds beyond. Rain lashed at them, the wind whipping Ellie's hair across her face. "Come on!" Mark yelled, his voice barely audible above the roar of the wind. He didn't need to tell Ellie twice. She sprinted through the doorway, Mark right behind her. "We have to keep moving!" But as they fled, the voice from the canvas echoed after them. "You cannot hide! My reach extends far beyond these walls!" The storm-ravaged grounds provided little cover. They ran blindly, their lungs burning, their legs screaming for respite. But the sounds of the house coming apart behind them urged them onward. "Don't stop, Mark! We're almost there!" A window exploded outward, showering the ground behind them with shards of glass. For a fleeting moment, Ellie saw Clara's face framed in the shattered window, her features twisted in a rictus of rage. "Ellie, look out!" Above the manor, the storm clouds swirled with unnatural speed, forming a vortex of darkness directly above the house. The entity was giving chase. "Mark, we have to keep moving." Mark stumbled, his ankle twisting beneath him. He cried out in pain, falling to the rain-soaked ground. "Go, Ellie, don't wait for me." But Ellie wouldn't leave him behind. She reached down, pulling him to his feet, their determination unyielding as the storm raged on. "Mark!" Ellie screamed, her voice swallowed by the wind. She turned back, her heart pounding with a mix of fear and desperation. "Go, don't stop for me!" Mark gasped, pushing himself up onto his elbows. "Leave me! Save yourself!" Ellie hesitated, her eyes darting between Mark's prone form and the swirling maelstrom of energy gathering above the manor. The entity was getting closer. She could feel its malevolent gaze burning into her back. With a sob, Ellie turned and ran towards the shadowy embrace of the surrounding woods. Every instinct in her body screamed at her to stay with Mark, to protect him, but she knew that if she stayed, they would both be lost. The forest floor was treacherous, littered with fallen branches and slick with mud. But Ellie didn't slow down. She couldn't risk it. The storm raged behind her, the entity's fury echoing in the crashing thunder. As she ran, a blinding flash of light illuminated the sky behind her. She dared to glance back and watched in horror as a bolt of lightning struck Briarwood Manor dead center, engulfing the house in a raging inferno. "Oh my God!" Ellie stumbled to a halt, her legs giving way beneath her. She collapsed beside a gnarled tree trunk, her chest heaving, her clothes soaked with rain and sweat. The storm raged on around her, but the entity was gone. She had escaped the clutches of Briarwood Manor, but the experience had changed her. The whispers, the terror, the loss, it would stay with her forever. As dawn broke, painting the sky in hues of pink and orange, Ellie stumbled out of the woods and onto a deserted country road, leaving behind the ruins of Briarwood Manor and the horrors that lay within. By the time the fire trucks arrived, Briarwood Manor was nothing but a smoldering ruin. The storm had subsided, leaving behind an eerie silence that amplified the crackling of the flames. I watched from a distance, my face pale, my eyes reflecting the inferno that had consumed the house, and I hoped the evil that dwelled within. The firefighters searched for Mark, but they found no trace of him in the ashes. Ellie clung to the hope that he had somehow managed to escape, that he was out there somewhere, trying to find his way back to her. But as the days turned into weeks, her hope dwindled, replaced by a gnawing emptiness. The police investigated the fire, of course. They ruled it an accident caused by faulty wiring ignited by the lightning storm. I didn't bother correcting them. They wouldn't believe the truth, not without sounding crazy. And maybe I was crazy. Maybe the trauma of that night had shattered my grip on reality. But she couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching her, that the entity, whatever it was still out there, lurking in the shadows, waiting for its next opportunity. Word spread quickly about the fire at Briarwood Manor. Some whispered that it was divine retribution, that the house had finally paid the price for its dark history. Others claimed that the entity had escaped, that it was out there searching for a new dwelling, a new vessel to inhabit. Despite the warnings and the tragedy, the ruins of Briarwood Manor became a macabre tourist attraction. People would come from miles around, drawn by curiosity and a morbid fascination with the supernatural. They would stand at the edge of the property, snapping pictures, sharing stories, and daring each other to venture closer. Ellie avoided the place like the plague. The memories were too painful, the whispers too real. She had tried to move on, to rebuild her life, but the events of that night haunted her every waking moment. I would wake in the middle of the night, my heart racing, my sheets soaked in sweat, the echo of Clara's laughter and the entity's chilling pronouncements ringing in my ears. A year after the fire, a young couple bought the land where Briarwood Manor once stood. They were oblivious to its history, drawn to the property's secluded location and the breathtaking views of the surrounding countryside. They hired a crew to clear the debris and began making plans to build their dream home. But the construction was plagued with problems. Tools went missing, accidents happened with alarming frequency, and the workers began to report strange occurrences, cold spots, disembodied whispers, and the feeling of being watched. One by one, the workers quit, refusing to set foot on the property again. The foreman tried to rationalize the events, to dismiss them as pranks or figments of overactive imaginations. But deep down, a seed of doubt had been planted. The young couple, however, refused to be driven away. They insisted that the house would be their sanctuary, a place where they could escape the pressures of the outside world. But I knew better. I knew that some places were best left undisturbed, that some doors should never be opened. Ellie never forgot Briarwood Manor, nor the horror she had witnessed within its walls. The experience had changed her, leaving an indelible mark on her soul. She carried the weight of that night with her, a constant reminder of the darkness that lurked beneath the surface of the ordinary. I had tried to warn the new owners, but they wouldn't listen. They were too blinded by their dreams, their desire for a fresh start, to see the danger that awaited them. I knew that history was about to repeat itself, that the cycle of obsession, madness, and vengeance would continue. And so, Ellie lived with the knowledge that Briarwood Manor's legacy of darkness would endure, a chilling reminder that some secrets are best left buried, and some places are better left forgotten. But she also knew that her own survival was a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit, a flicker of light in the face of unimaginable darkness. And that perhaps was enough.
The shadows are restless tonight, and so are we. If you're brave enough, hit that like button. Let us know what you think in the comments. And subscribe for more spine-tingling stories that lurk just around the corner.